That is actually in there. They talk about implantable chips in the bill. Let's talk to Mike in North Carolina. Any questions for Lindsey Williams?
Hey, Alex. I just want to know about the buildup in Yemen, and I want to know if he's heard anything about these rumors of the Stargate down there or anything like that.
Yeah, I would imagine he hadn't heard anything about that, but I appreciate your call. He was saying earlier that the whole Yemen thing is a distraction. Really, to me, it's a civil war down there. And the U.S. and Saudi are in there trying to take control of the situation, also to control the port of Aden. And the U.S. and Israel are talking about taking over the oil-filled areas in southern Iran. Then they would control about a third of the oil on the planet. Lindsey?
Yes. Now, the Strait of Hormuz, as most of you recognize, one supertanker down in the Strait of Hormuz would cut off 40% of the world's oil. And you would see the price of gasoline at the gas pump go to $10 to $12 a gallon overnight. And our military be drastically hindered. So, Alex, I think you've covered it quite well.
Al in Texas, you're on the air with Lindsey Williams. Go ahead.
Yeah, how you doing, Mr. Williams? I had the pleasure of listening to you on Matrix News Network when I lived in Aurora, Illinois. I do live in Conroe, Texas now. And you had touched on the health care bill earlier, and it's interesting that the caller, a few callers behind me or in front of me had mentioned the RFID chip implanted by needle. I, in fact, was in Larry Gitt State Jail in Beaumont, Texas, and interestingly enough, you were forced to have vaccinations and have blood drawn, 3 vials.
By the way, we're getting reports everywhere of people in jail for unpaid tickets are having blood taken, being injected. They're taking blood from babies at birth illegally. I mean, this is insane.
Yes, sir. And it's very, very odd that now a stud finder picks up something in my left arm where they did pick up the blood, where they did take the blood. And interesting, Mr. Jones, I have just become a listener to your show in the past week. I placed an order through your store. And just in the past few minutes, in fact, and this is no lie, a military helicopter did fly above my house in Conroe, and there is the same white Suburban that has been driving by my house 5 times in the past 10 minutes.
Well, I appreciate your call, Al, but you wouldn't order it and then they come fly a helicopter over. There's military helicopters flying around everywhere, and they do have systems that can look right through your walls. That's been in the news, but I mean, I think just completely giving into paranoia is not the way to go. I got a lot of folks home from work today. Let's go ahead and talk to Nick in Colorado. Nick, you're on the air.
Hey, I just had a question for you and Mr. Williams about the Iran war. Now, you predicted about 3 to 6 months, maybe something like that happening, but Lindsey Williams saying it wouldn't be until about a year.
Well, Lindsey's saying a year and a half, then maybe they may do it. Tarpley thinks it's on the front burner again. Israel's talking about it. It's clearly being debated right now. I don't think the establishment knows what they're going to do at this time yet. Lindsey?
Yes, a year and a half ago, you remember that we had our warships sitting over there in the Gulf, Persian Gulf. We had everything ready, Marines, Air Force, Army, everybody was ready. I was even saying on radio talk shows, we're going to have a confrontation with Iran. This gentleman told me on the phone, you will not have a confrontation with Iran in the next 2 years. I came back on radio shows all over the country, said that. I was laughed at. It's gone by for a year and a half. We still haven't had one. The gentleman now is saying me that the elite have it planned a year and a half from now. That's all I can go on. And they've been right for 35 years, so I'm hoping I can sleep better at night based on the fact of what he said.
All right, Nick, thank you. Joe in North Carolina, next question for Lindsey Williams.
Hey, Alex, this is Joe in North Carolina, man. Good to talk to you.
Good to talk to you.
Hey, quick question. I've been listening to you guys for about a year, and if there were maybe 2 points that you could make to kind of wake me up just a little bit more, what would you say?
Well, if any 2 points would wake you up, I would say number one would be the fact that he said there's not going to be any shortages on the grocery store shelves, but yet you will probably go hungry because you won't have the money to buy it. They will devalue the dollar by 30 to 50% in the next 12 months. Then his comparison with crude oil and the one on Dubai World. Please, those are probably the most important things right now.
All right, Phil, thank you. Let's talk to Michael in Mississippi. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Alex. Hey, Pastor Williams.
Hi, Michael.
I had a question. Yes, sir. The last time you talked, this last time, Pastor, but the time before that you had talked to this gentleman, You had mentioned in one, it was maybe online on one of the talk shows or maybe on your DVD, but you mentioned specifically something about a connection between specifically 2012, the Mayan calendar, and the elite. And I got the videos and I listened, and I never heard anything about that specifically. Could you tell me about that?
You probably have the wrong set of videos, because I've received so much material from this man within the past 6 months. We have done 2 different sets of videos. There are 3 videos in each one. The latest set probably is the one that I went into that, and basically what he said to me was, he said the dollar will be dead. These are his exact words. The dollar will be dead by 2012. I said that is the same date that the Mayan calendar has some things that will probably be happening, and we went into that more in our latest DVD set, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yes, Michael, thank you. Phil in Jersey, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, how you doing? I wanted to know if there was any Achilles heel that he indicated that these people have that might be a way that we could organize and take them down before they take us down.
You sure can, and I am so glad you asked that. Oh, my goodness, thank you so much. When I lived with the elite, I found there's only one thing that scares them to death. That's the masses of people waking up and learning the truth. And that's what Alex Jones is all about. He tells them. He tells it straight. And they are scared to death of you waking up. As a result, I mentioned, I think when I was on Alex Jones' show last, that they have extended their timeline because you gave them $2.5 trillion back in the last 2 months of the Bush administration, and they do not want you to wake up. They're scared to death. In fact, that's the reason that I asked him this. Oh, thank you for bringing this up. I asked him, I said, why are you going to diminish the dollar by 50% this year? He doesn't want you to wake up. He wants you to keep on like frog boiling in the pot. And instead of completely collapsing the dollar overnight, they are not going to do that, by the way. This is a prediction. They are not going to collapse.
Well, that's what the G20 has said.
30-50% in 2012.
The G20 has said publicly coordinated devaluation.
Yes.
Incremental. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Phil. Good question. Richie in Georgia. Richie, you're on the air.
Alex, hey guys, how you doing? God bless you. I just want to say we appreciate everything that you've been teaching us, waking us up. And just real quick, I know that the news is happening. There's so much ammunition in their gun that they're shooting at us right now. I've been trying to get in the paper and let them know about the possible assassination attempts and Paul Craig Roberts' interview. You know, I've been relaying that to my local community here. But really wanted to get the word out to the Christians across the nation to form something other than the Tea Party, because the Tea Party is being infiltrated. Is there any way that we could possibly do an interview sometime so that the people would, I'd have some credibility to reach out to those people and us try to, come up with a grassroots movement?
Do an interview where? Do an interview where?
Well, I was wondering if maybe we could do that sometime to get the word out to folks.
On what? I mean, what type of interview?
Well, you made it a point that the Tea Party is being infiltrated, and I think we need a truly independent movement. And I think if we reach out to all the Christians in the country and all the churches, I feel like I can network with those people and really. Well,
listen, I hear you, and I appreciate your call. Look, man, I'm trying to keep my lights on and just run my operation. I'm not all powerful, but just. You don't have to save the world by yourself, sir, and have some big complex thing I'm involved with, and you wake up every church. Try waking up one church. You say have credibility with them. Make copies of my films. Give them to people. By the way, we've been given an exclusive article. He sent it to us and said, this is directly to you, not even through his syndicated column. Paul Craig Roberts this morning sent it to us, asked us to post it. It's The Road to Armageddon. And it's a key article about 9/11 truth, World War III, and a lot more. Very powerful that Dr. Roberts sent us. It's up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com right now. The Road to Armageddon, Dr. Paul Craig Roberts. We're going to break here in a few minutes. We're going to come back with final calls and questions for Lindsey Williams at 1-800-259-9231. Please give him quick questions he can answer in this limited time we have with him. We'll probably have him back soon. Lindsey, you've made so many books and DVDs. Before, you'd write a book maybe every 10 years. Or a DVD every 5-6 years. You're really churning it out because so much is happening now, and this guy's telling you so much. give people the toll-free number to call and get some of the DVD packages and books.
Alex, we are re-editing. Please notice my wording carefully as